Hi, Olga. This is Olga Kostrova, and we're doing a project on exploring the nature of happiness and how we can find happiness and how we can sustain our ongoing happiness in the short and long term. And I thought would be better to get a perspective on this than my friend Olga Kostrova. Maybe you'd like to introduce yourself and a little bit about your practices and background.
Sure. I do transformational work. You can call me transformational coach if you want. These days I probably call myself more facilitator. I facilitate transformation when I work one-on-one with people, and I also run workshops. I have a number of different themes that I introduce to people through which we explore the subconscious and its effect on our daily life, on the way how we make decisions, on the way how we react to external circumstances, people, events. And with that, of course, influence our emotional states. And happiness is the most desired one of all. So I think it will be a wonderful conversation. I look forward to it.
Yeah, me too. I remember that some of these practices were beneficial for myself when we first met. So, all right, we'll jump right into the interview portion here. And,
bring it on.
All right, the first question is, can you share examples of short-term and long-term happiness in your life?
Examples. My goodness, examples. I mean, I think it's very hard to break down on events, you know. The emotional state is a very fluid state. So we can notice that we are in a state of happiness. Can you give example of it? I don't know, it comes in waves. In general, I find that to be happy, the key is not to be unhappy. You don't need to become happy. You just need not to be unhappy. So as long as I don't suffer, as long as I don't experience reaction to people, events, and circumstances that bring me unhappiness, I'm happy. So it's very hard to say, oh, then I was happy, because as a default state, I'm a happy person. I am happy. Unless something happened, and because of the wrong perception, my reaction is a reaction of suffering.
Right.
A reaction of seeing things as a conflict between desires, conflict between belief systems. So then unhappiness kicks in. So I think it's much easier to talk about, tell me about examples of unhappiness than example of happiness, because happiness is an underlying state, like love is underlying sense of existence. We run on this sense of love or overall well-being unless something pollutes our perception of reality. So I don't think I really can give you example of happiness per se. I only can say that what pollutes it is our wrong perceptions, reactions to what seemingly externally happened. Short term, obviously, we can say that there are states sometimes of excitement that we can equate to happiness, because a lot of people equate happiness with the sense of exhilarated joy. It's not even joy. Joy feels like joy is more calm state. But happiness, a lot of people consider happiness to be when you can jump in like a puppy and happy. It's so excitement. It has this vibration, a little bit more active vibration that underlying joy. So what brings me happiness, I can say, and again, because it's so hard to say, oh, it's just short-term event. No, I know that what brings me happiness, this excitement, it brings my energy up, is nature. Nature, it just opens me more. It completely changes energetic flow in my system. Nature, laugh. You know, you laugh with people you care about, people you love, and again, it brings this sense of heightened state of joy. Art.
All
Whether
right.
I do art or whether I observe art that I'm really enjoying, it brings this sense of excitement. Creative ideas, they bring this sense of excitement, right? So the happiness, if we say it's joy plus excitement, that's what comes. Long term, I don't think that long term necessarily happiness is underlying emotion. It's more joy. It's a little bit more mellow state. It's a very expansive state. And again, I cannot give you example. I can tell you when I don't have experience of joy is when my mind is polluted with stuff.
Yeah.
Right? Stuff is as a human experience when we immersed in believing something that is not true. That's when the sense of joy and sense of the expansion and openness of the heart get overridden by a little bit more darker energy, if you wish to say that, just kind of heavier. Overall, the vibration heavier. So then you don't feel it. It's still there, and as soon as you remove that heaviness, it's still there. It doesn't go anywhere. But you cannot experience it because the emanating state, then it's the state of heavy override.
So the truth will always make us a little happier. Is that?
Well, you cannot make yourself happy. You kind of the state of joy is more default state, and people don't notice it very often because it's kind of peaceful, calm state joy. So it's expansion. We notice when we're unhappy because then we notice how we fight unhappiness. We fight suffering. We fight it. So we pay attention. We energetically move our attention there. When we're in state of peaceful, calm, joyful, we only notice it when it's heightened.
Yeah.
The state of happiness we notice. Joy, it depends where your awareness is, where you're putting your attention. You might notice, or you might just bypass, and a few hours later, you only notice when you're agitated by something or hurt by something.
Right.
Right? And when everything is good and calm, and if someone would ask you in the moment, say, hey, Sani, are you happy now?
Yeah.
Right? But you're not paying attention to it because there's no problem for the mind to solve.
Right. It's like, if you're free from pain, you don't think about the fact that you're free from pain, unless.
Right. You just experience freedom, but you're not focusing on it because there is no problem to solve. And as soon as suffering kicks in, okay, mind get very excited because there is plenty to do. For the ego, for the mind, there's plenty to do.
So as long as we're not expecting too much to be different, then it seems like it would be easy.
Well, if we don't have too much expectation, life is better. I can see that expectation bring a lot of suffering to people because expectation always based on the past. You cannot expect something that you don't know completely. You have to build a picture of the future of some sort, and this picture can only be based on something that you experienced in the past. You can modify it, but again, even modifications would still be somehow resembling the past. So your expectations always will be wrong because you don't have enough data to create imaginary experience of unknown. You just don't have the data. You only can take data of your past. But you never will have anything that matches your expectation. And if you're attached to your expectation, you will be unhappy, you will suffer. And if you come anywhere to any connection between two people, to any event, to any circumstances, free from expectations. And that's practice. For a lot of people, it's practice because the mind automatically builds expectation and ready to judge everything and compartmentalize everything and put on shelves because mind likes to know. So as long as you do that, you will set yourself for failure in a way because expectations that you will build will not get delivered. You will be disappointed. So you set yourself for disappointment with expectations. Have a practice and pay attention to this default state of mind for a lot of people to build expectation, to expect from everything and anything. And there is entitlement comes. And it's very rigid energy and very in the body you feel contracted and very separate. That state very separate. When I'm entitled, so the world owns me. Right?
Yeah.
And owns. So expectations-free life is much happier life. Because then you can experience surprise every time.
Yeah.
Good surprise or a different kind of surprise, but at least if you come anywhere with curiosity versus expectations, you will have a chance to be very surprised.
Yeah.
Very, very often it's really good surprise.
Yeah. This is why babies are pretty happy, right? Because they don't have much of a past.
Exactly. They're innocent. So for us to learn innocence, it's a great deal. Happiness is a skill, I would say. It is a state, but I think for adult people, especially in Western society, we are so conditioned. And there's so much conditioning towards fear and emotions that are very unsettling and unproductive for us. If you look at, for example, advertising, a lot of emotions that are used in order for you to buy, it's to save you from negative emotions. To do that well, you need to reinforce and often make you believe that you have those emotions in extrapolated volume or amount. And so that's what marketing does, unfortunately, advertising, branding. Very often, you need to first find your wound, poke around well enough, remind you that you have a lot of fear, or that you will be jealous or sad or sick. Look how much sickness right now in the media. Disease. Every second ad is disease. Now here's the pill from disease, but first 15 minutes or 15 seconds or whatever, it doesn't matter. We talk about disease, and it wasn't even in your awareness. You were not even thinking about it.
Right.
But suddenly it brought to your awareness. Now you're conditioned to afraid and to run to doctor to double check something that is not even there, right? So media has immense impact. And if we don't turn it off, either actually turn something off, television, let's say, radio, or in our mind learn to turn it off and recognize it as something that is meant to condition us and just kind of shut down, which is much harder though. That's the trick. If it's in our space, and especially if we don't pay attention to that and it's here in the background, the mind gets conditioned. It's like you're in a trance almost. So my suggestion always would be just turn it off. As much as possible, any negative influences, turn it off, because whether you want it or not, our conscious mind takes 5% and 95% is subconscious mind. So everything that you consciously can reject is good. But if you don't notice it and don't acknowledge it and don't even process it, it gets pushed on your subconscious right away and you get conditioned. And so you develop the belief systems and anxieties, and that does not help anybody to feel happy in no way.
Right. All right, cool. The follow-up question is, what practices support your journey to happiness?
Yes. So, and I mentioned happiness is a skill. I find that happiness is a skill. And the skill is simply to keep being vigilant about noticing what brings you unhappiness. Right? What takes you off center? Noticing where you're reacting to external circumstances. Because I know a number of people will not agree with me, and it's up to them, that's their choice. But my view, you can call it philosophy, doesn't matter. We are responsible for our feelings and emotions 100%, nobody else. Not circumstances, whether it's politics or environment, or doesn't matter. Circumstances are just circumstances. Our reaction to that, that's our responsibility. And even though reaction is partially triggered by conditioning, which someone can say, well, I'm not responsible for that. Yes, at the beginning of arising of reaction, it's very hard consciously to do anything about it because it arises due to our conditioning. But what will you do with, as soon as we notice it, first of all, noticing it as a practice, then what we do with that when we notice it, that's our responsibility. A lot of people, unfortunately, don't even want to hear it, that it's 100% ours. They say, no, in the relationship, 50-50. Well, how far does it get you, this belief? If you say mine is only 50, now 50% of your power in someone else's hands. And you're relying on them behaving in a certain way, and they never will. They might do once or twice, but in general, they will not. They're individual beings with their own conditioning, their own reactions, and so on and so forth, and belief systems, and you name it. So you're saying, I am setting myself for unhappiness with this choice, basically, because I only own 50, and I don't have control of another 50. Or imagine and make myself believe that I do, but I don't. Truly, you never can control another being, even if you master and control. Not that you should in the first place, but even if you master in it, you still can't control fully another being. It's not machines. We're not robots, right?
Right.
Thank God. So if I say I have my percentage in it, anything other than 100, the gap, the delta, that's the degree of my suffering that I'm allowing in this situation. Because there is nothing I can do about it then.
Right.
But obviously it comes with blames and complaints and victim and perpetrator dynamics and other, right? Like, look how much complaints. Open Facebook if you want. See all the gossips and all the anger and all the... Because someone blames someone else, something else, the system, the politicians, that system, another system, people, I mean, whatever it is, there is a lot of blame happens, and it's anger. So you bring anger in you in reaction to something, there's no happiness. Anger pollutes your sense of happiness. Anger pollutes your sense of joy. Anger pollutes love, compassion, all the beautiful, expansive emotional states, right? So when we talk about practice, at first, at least recognition that you are solely responsible for your reactions. At least what you do with the reactions, your perceptions, nobody else. Yes, they do things that you can consider right or not. And it doesn't mean that you don't take actions. You do take actions as a result of how you perceive it. Like if someone is putting another person in danger, it doesn't mean that just because you don't react emotionally to that with anger, you don't do anything about it. No, you might very well will, because you think that is not right. This is, I mean, I don't even like the whole not right, because there is position righteousness that doesn't help either. But it doesn't serve a being, let's say, some being being hurt right now, and you can prevent that. Then yes, take an action, prevent that. But if you say it's natural to be angry, no, it's your choice whether you will be angry or not, because your anger doesn't help anybody. And someone would say, well, anger will help me to take an action. No, it's your recognition that situation can be changed and you can change it. That's what take you to the action. It's not the anger itself. You don't have to experience anger, because anger hurts you. It hurts actually a physical system. Your body somatically will be hurt. First. Second, you now bring this anger outside, speaking in the language inside, outside, me versus you, if you're speaking in dualistic terms.
Right.
Now I'm bringing this anger and I'm passing it to someone else, because it's not mutual. Anger is very strong energy. Aggression, you can feel it. You're next to someone who is angry, you can feel it, don't you? They don't even need to say anything, you can feel it. It's in your system, because everything is energy.
Right.
We are bioenergetic beings, and everything is energy. So the transfer of energy is automatic. So if I'm angry, I'm already harming anything around me, because there's great entanglement. Anybody who cares about quantum physics to understand what I'm saying, if I make no sense for someone, they can check it out. And I work obviously within the whole realm of energy and information stored in the energy, because I heal people working with energy, and it can be remote. It doesn't even have person doesn't have to be here. So imagine if I can heal you remotely. You are miles and miles and thousands of miles away. That means my anger somehow reaches you too.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because I can feel your energy even, you know, even though you're hundreds of miles away, you know.
Right, here we go. I hope it's a good one. Is it a good one? I hope it's
It's a good one, yeah.
good. Right? So that's the trick. If we don't take responsibility for our emotions and put them out there, it creates a lot of violence as a result of it. Violence, psychological, emotional, physical. Physical violence being a huge part of my work. And violence comes in so many different ways. What causes it? Well, hurt people hurt people. People who are hurt others.
Right.
But we hurt because we allow ourselves to have wrong perceptions and engage in this dynamic of victim-perpetrator. As soon as we release that and know that, okay, I feel hurt right now, it must be a result of wrong perception because I'm not hurt if I have right perception. The truth doesn't hurt. The ultimate, absolute truth, the truth of love and unity, it doesn't hurt. It feels great. As soon as I'm having some contracted thoughts and get into belief system that is not reflecting the truth, now all my energetic system skewed, my emotional system skewed. So the balance and peace is a natural state, but anything that skews it points to wrong perception. If I understand that, if I'm taking responsibility, then whatever practice I can apply, and there's so many practices, gosh, we could talk forever if we started to talk about specific practices. But I want to just kind of share the overall process here, because methodology and techniques, it doesn't matter what you pick, anything will work. But the process of recognition that there is something arising in me as a reaction to events, circumstances, people, my own thoughts, my own emotions, the reaction, the result of conditioning. But now, here I am aware of it, and as soon as I become aware of it, I have a choice what to do with that. And if I don't do anything about it, say, they are responsible. He is responsible. She is responsible. System is responsible. First of all, I give away my power. So then I have nothing to do with that. Or I can complain. And I perpetually generate and share negative energy and lies that come with my belief system, because as soon as I blame someone, I'm pretty much lying to myself and others. So there's nothing good comes out of it. It's a lot of gossip, a lot of energy that is very negative energy. There's no it's not solution in any way. The solution is like, oh, okay, I'm reacting. Yes, situation could be different. Yes, it could be, but it's not. It is what it is. Can I bring something to it to make it different? If I can, I don't have to feel anything about it. I don't need to go into anger. I don't need to go into sadness. I don't need to go into depression, to anything. I just see it. Very functional thinking. We're using brain very functionally here. The mind, the capacity of the mind to strategize. And then I make some action. I take action. That's good, right? But if I allow it to come as a blame, first of all, I don't take action probably, or I don't take right action. I will take action that are violent action in some way. It brings one form or another form of violence. Physical, psychological, emotional, otherwise, energetic violence, right? Instead, I'm acknowledging it, I see it, and I first work through my emotions to get myself in a sense of balance and zero down on right perception instead of wrong perception. So now when I am centered, now the action that I take will be better actions. They will be more compassionate, more humane, strategically maybe much more intelligent and wise, and so on and so forth. So it's a better way to live in and coexist in this reality when we know that I am 100% responsible for what's going on inside of this vessel.
Yeah. So I can imagine some people would feel angry to hear that because they're saying, oh, you're blaming me, but it was that guy who hit my car.
Right. Well, and it comes very often comes with this old thinking, because this is the old thinking, the old paradigm. People feel that responsibility for my feeling must be shared. But let's look at the situation with car, okay? So someone hit your car. It's just event. It's the data. Like you are computer genius, IT genius, software genius. It's a data, 1001. The event happened, someone hit the car, my car, okay? The car in which I'm sitting, the car for which I paid. Right. So, okay, here we go. This is simply data. It happened. On its own, it has no meaning. Nothing that happens has extrinsic meaning. We only have intrinsic meaning. We put meaning onto it. Because the meaning, there's so many meanings I can put on it. I can say, oh my God, poor person, they just hurt themselves. This is one meaning I put on that. I can put another meaning. Bastard, they killed my car just now. Right? There's two different meanings.
Right.
Which meaning I'm putting? So if I put no meaning, for example, and again, you can put any meaning with that. But if I treat it as no meaning, it's just a fact. There is car crash. One of them was mine. Right?
Right.
Now I am responsible for what I'm feeling. Yes, of course, you will be triggered because there is fear arise, unexpected, whatever. There is something arising of something, arising as a result of conditions. One car accident is a stimulus for you. Arising, you're not responsible, pretty much. Your mind, conscious mind, cannot do anything about it. It happened. It happened fast. But now you're aware of it. Where you go with that, that's the thing. As soon as you're aware of it, it happened. Arising of emotion happened. Arising of fear, and very often fear is going to be covered up by anger. It happened. Now, I can believe that this anger is your responsibility and go and yell at you and maybe wreck your car for that as a response, right? Yeah. I can do that and go hurt you verbally, energetically, spitting out my anger, spreading out poison everywhere, making physical damage happen, whatever, right?
Creating
call 10 friends and spit out negative energy there, complaining. You can do that, and majority of people do that, unfortunately. And this is why the world is so violent, because that's what we do. We blame others, right? That's it. Unfortunately, in this society, in this world, that's this kind of default response. Someone else is responsible. But if I say it's a data, it's just event, has no meaning. Cars clashed. Yes, I can go and figure out why. And if you really do compassionate investigation, nobody by the will wanted to hit your car because they just hurt themselves too. Right? Sure. So then you extend compassion and so on. But even if you don't go there, even if you just purely don't even investigate, you just say, oh, it's event. It just happened. I am responsible for what I feel. Now, my work is to get all my reactions in order, eliminate all my triggers that just give me all these reactions, emotional reactions, and center. So I'm 100% responsible for my emotions. Now I can step out and probably compassionate way to find out if a person didn't hurt themselves. And they probably ask you if you hurt, and you say, I don't, hopefully, nobody hurt. If people hurt, then you call emergency. That's what you do. You just figure out what steps need to be taken. You exchange information, you call an insurance, and you take care of things. But you don't have to jump out and yell at each other, blame each other. And that's what a lot of people would do.
Right.
You're blind, what you moron, and how is it helping?
It's not.
It's not. And in relationship, if you look at romantic relationships, that acts out every single day. You didn't do that. You didn't do that. You didn't do that. Or you did. And the wiser approach and kinder approach is to remember that nothing has meaning unless we assign meaning to it. So it's our choice what meaning we assign. And another line, I really love the line from Course in Miracles, I believe. We're never upset for the reason we think we are.
All right, say again.
We are never upset for the reason we think we are.
Wow. Okay.
right? So the trigger is always related to the past. The trigger is never come in relation to now. It's resemblance of the past, always. Because we don't have context for now. We have context of the past.
Right.
So, for example, if we continue with the car accident, oh my God, I'm hurt. Now, I probably will need to go to hospital, and I hate hospitals, past. It will cost me money. I know that it will cost me money because I already spent at some point, or I know that I don't have insurance, past. I didn't buy insurance, or my insurance doesn't cover, past. Or, oh my God, I'm not safe, and I know that I'm not safe only if I haven't been safe in some event, circumstances in the past. Because otherwise, I will not even comprehend the idea of I'm not safe if I don't have past context. Right? So our reaction, the triggers, always triggers to the past that we project onto now and future. So now has nothing to do with our trigger. It's the past that does. And we all have very different paths, therefore our triggers are very different, and our reactions to triggers is different because our condition is different. Did I confuse you enough?
No, that makes sense, actually.
So when we come back to your question about practices, this is the process, right? So the practice would come, okay, how exactly do I eliminate my reaction to trigger?
Yeah.
If I have awareness that it's not Joe or Natasha is responsible for how I feel, not what they did or what they said or what they think of me or what they feel of me or not feel of me, but I'm responsible. They are just doing they dance in life. They're just dancing as we all dancing. Right? This existence. We have this existential dance. So I don't bother about they part in that right now. I only think about what is my part. I'm responsible for what's happening over here. So the practice is to calm yourself down from the trigger. There's so many. Start with breath, if nothing else. You know, I can offer a lot of different frameworks that are much more complicated, and they work for complicated triggers, and they work for recurrent triggers, and you name it. But I don't think we need to go at this level of conversation that far. Just take a pause, acknowledge what's going on, look at sensations of the body, because that's how we know that we feel emotions. It's through sensations in the body. And then you turn it back onto how do I release the sensations, or just be present for long enough till they subside. Or if they don't subside, just be present that they are here and accept them that they are here without labeling and fighting, because when we fight, well, you know, if you resist, it persists, right? So the fight itself usually adds to its intensity. Just sit and watch it. Oh, the anger rise. I can see that it's anger because I know it from my past. Again, it's my past. That's how I recognize the emotion, because it's particular sensations in the body. You know, my solar plexus tight, or some burning happen, or hard to breathe, and anxiety, or whatever it is. And through breath work, just awareness, sitting with that breath work, pause, not jumping out of the car instantly, immediately, and getting into fight, right? Just taking a moment, and through breath work, the intensity of the trigger will subside. Another practice that I always recommend when trigger happen is to see what thoughts arise and always question how true they are. Because the thoughts will perpetuate the intensity of emotion. They will build up on that. If an anger, right away I'll start to have angry thoughts, and I will feel even angrier than before. So if I believe in those thoughts, I will feel more angry. They will just feed and feed and feed. But if I question them and break down the constructs into unreality which they represent, then I don't have the acceleration of the trigger. Acceleration of reaction, emotional reaction. So even that is enough to just start with, and the rest is after that. You know, what do you do if trigger stays longer? If I can figure out how to deal with it, then there's more complex, a little bit frameworks to deal with it. But it's just the simplest one. Take pause, assess physical sensations, let them be. Don't push them away. Don't try to transform them even. Just let them be for a while. The mind gets bored of every single state. Bored of any emotion. If you give it attention and let it be, it very fast will switch its attention to something else. That's what mind does. Mind has ADD. Mind does not stay still or long in one place. That's why when we fight, it will stay longer. When we allow it to be as is, mind say, okay, fine, I played with it enough. What next? And suddenly you find yourself happy.
Oh.
In the midst of crisis. Because the contraction, the hold of this reaction will subside. Mind is like, okay. Somewhere else. Make sense?
Yeah, that's quite a detailed practice that you have there. I'm also reminded of the stuff that you said about the body. I read something that paralyzed people or paraplegic, they said they actually get a kind of peace of mind because they don't get any negative feedback from the body. They feel a lot calmer with that. All right. The third question is, how would you change your happiness recipe to include the ingredients for a meaningful life?
To include the ingredients for meaningful life.
Yeah.
Well, here it is again. I can give life any meaning I want, because extrinsically nothing means anything until I assign meaning to it. So happiness and meaning don't have to do anything with each other, really. Happiness is a state, emotional state,
Right.
in which no meaning means to be. I just feel happy, and very often I don't know why, just because I'm not unhappy, so I'm happy. You know, my energetic state is such that it is associated with state of happiness. Yesterday, great example. Yesterday I went dancing. We had amazing drum circle, very raw, very intense and amazing. I don't know, hundreds of people dancing. I love it. I go once in a month. We have this amazing event here. And I'm coming home and my whole body vibrates. And I'm smiling with this huge smile. Yes, I can, of course I can say, I am happy because I went to drum circle and I liked it.
Yeah.
But if I don't grab the past and purely say, right now my energy in the body is such that vibrations are so high that it does represent happiness. What caused it doesn't matter. Love making can cause it, drum circle can cause it, good food can cause it, time with friends can cause it. The cause is irrelevant. There is no meaning in the state itself. There is no meaning. The meaning itself is only the sensations in the body. I was vibrating, my kundalini probably is up to sky, and so on and so forth. So my energetic level, my bioenergetics are such that it produces a lot of chemicals in the body, right? Probably endorphins went up the roof too. Who knows, right? So I feel happy. Is it meaningful in any way? My life became more meaningful? No, I'm just happy.
Right.
If I want meaningful life, I am assigning meaning to something. For example, what I do with that. And again, of course, it's a dual conversation. If we would have non-dual conversation, the doer would be not part of it, right? But since we have a kind of a dual conversation here, then what do I do with my life to add meaning to that? For my meaning, so I can add meaning. And I can add meaning to anything. If I'm, I don't know, killer for hire, I still can add meaning to that. Mind can justify everything and add meaning to that, right? But I probably need to add meaning. I need to add meaning that somehow relates to my values. It plays together with my values, right? So how I add meaning to my life, for example, again, it has nothing to do with happiness. Happiness is happiness. Happiness is a state. It's a state beyond unhappiness, underneath of it all, right? And if I'm talking about excitement, then there is, physiological processes are happening, bioenergetic processes are happening that it gives this expansive, excited state, happy. Right? Meaning, then I make choices. And depend where I'm in life, my choices will be different because my level of conditioning and content of conditioning is different. At some point of my life, I love to build technology companies, whether I was successful in that or not, it doesn't matter. It was meaningful to me because my values, my ideals were somewhere in that area. It was time when I really was into arts, and that was giving me meaning, exploration through arts. And I cannot even say give me meaning. I was giving meaning to it in relation to my life and what does it mean and my self-identity.
Right.
Right now, what gives me meaning, and it's caused transformation in people from suffering to happiness, from violence to peace and joy and compassion and humane relating to each other. So I give it meaning depending on what's happening in my life right now and where my values are and where I feel I can spread my gift in the most productive, if I can say productive way or expansive way or something like that. So I think happiness is one conversation, meaning is another. I don't need meaning for happiness. I don't need happiness for meaning. Yet I can live happy and meaningful life if I choose both.
Right. All right. What struggles do you want in life, and what struggles do you not want?
I don't want struggles in life. They will be there because I'm human. I'm in this body. I don't want them necessarily. I don't invite them. Whether I fight them or not, well, as humans, we kind of try to eliminate our struggles. So wanting them, I need to be suicidal to want them. Struggles. Because they will be there. For me to learn my lessons, they will be there. I don't need to invite them.
Okay.
So, of course, in ideal world, I would love to live struggle-free.
But sometimes it seems like we don't value things that are not achieved without a struggle.
Well, in my particular case, I had so many adversities in my life. I can share it with the world, and it will be enough. So I think I already have enough for comparison of value. So, as I said, they will be there. That's kind of the rule, the law of life. The struggle will be there for as long as we're in this body. But there are different conflicts of different things, thoughts, emotions, you name it, right? So struggles always will be there in order to serve the function. It doesn't mean that I have to want them. They will be there whether I want them or not. They will be there. And there's enough of them. So I can probably not include my wanting much.
Yeah. From a law of attraction perspective, you could say maybe if you want struggles, then you'll be inviting more of them into your life.
Yeah, I don't need more. I had enough, and life always presents enough of challenges. So I don't think I need to invite more than that.
Okay. So to continue with that, though, what struggles do you not want? Like maybe not want more than others?
Like least preferable type of struggles, right?
Yeah.
Is that okay? Yeah, no, nothing really comes. I would love not to have struggles when I'm truly powerless. You know, for example, if you're talking about emotional intelligence, I have my power. I have power to choose. If I'm physically abused, I don't have much choice there, really.
Yeah.
If I'm physically limited, I don't have choice there.
Right.
I have choice to do something with that later. But in the moment, I don't have choice. Right? So I would prefer to have struggles where I do have choice.
Right.
Because then, you know, there is a degree of my doership that can take me to another side of it. If my struggle limit my body, you know, you need to kind of alter reality quite a bit. And I don't know whether it's good or bad, useful or not. I mean, everything is probably useful. Universe is somewhat intelligent, but I think, you know, if I have a choice, I would rather have struggles in which my choices can matter and can make a difference. I would love to not have struggles that pollutes completely my perception, where the triggers are overwhelming and I can't cope. Whether I still have those, I don't know. I know that I did have in the past before I started doing a lot of inner work and facilitated for others as a result of the gifts that I have because of the discovery of it all. But I know that some triggers were overwhelming, and I felt out of control. I felt helpless. I would definitely not invite again situations that make me feel helpless, or I feel helpless in situations. I don't think situation can make anything. But in the presence of this situation, event, I'm helpless. Yeah, I prefer to have a degree of, I can say control, I don't know if control is the right word, but effect, to be able to affect the situation. So struggles that make me helpless are not fun struggles, just not fun to struggle with.
Right. Okay. Fifth question is, what has inspired you today, and what has challenged you, what has surprised you, and what has touched your heart?
Wait, it's a lot of different questions. Let's do one by one.
Okay. What has inspired you today?
What inspires me today? What inspires me today? Well, you know, my answer is not going to be surprising. Just life itself, you know, that everything is happening. You witness that everything is happening.
No, I'm surprised.
Surprised. I don't know.
I inspire you.
What?
I thought you were going to say I inspire you.
You inspire me. You're a part of life. Right now, you're content of my life right now.
I'm just kidding here.
I know. But right now, you definitely inspire me because you're content of my life. Well, I don't know if I can say something specifically that inspires me. I mean, we can break down to what I already shared, like art inspires me in general.
Right.
But so, human suffering. I mean, it's not inspiring in a way that it makes me happy, but it's inspiring me to take action. It's inspiring me to commit to my vocation. It inspires me to overcome some of my own inner resistances that I have, even to do my work sometime, because it's not always easy to work with people who struggle, right? And sometimes it's challenging because I almost feel I want them to be happy more than they're willing to do the work, more than they choose, right? So sometimes it is, even that can be struggle. So the suffering inspires me to observe human suffering, inspires me to do it despite the fact that sometimes I have to stay in bed and take a session and I know the person is just not ready yet for change. And I know that I will try to do my absolutely best to make them reconsider. Right? So everything inspires, just depending what exactly it inspires towards. If it inspires you to feel Something inspires you to do something, but life itself it's quite an inspiring phenomena. It inspires you to suffer. It's inspiring too, right?
Yeah.
It inspires you to write. It inspires you to feel. It inspires you to love. It inspires you to make love. It inspires you to share food with friends. It inspires. I don't think I can really truly break it in pieces.
What has challenged you?
Again, same answer, life. Everything that is arising in life challenges. You know, it challenges you to think, it challenges you to feel, it challenges you to act. Right? I had so much adversity in my life that came in so many different ways, in so many different forms. Overcoming it is challenging, very challenging. Do I still have different challenges? Of course. And no matter how much emotional intelligence I might have and how much I teach it, challenges are presented by life. This is the law of life. Challenges are there. Life is challenging us. And how we respond to that, that's the power we either keep or give away.
Yeah, Nietzsche comes to mind. You know, that which does not kill us makes us stronger.
Pretty much it. Yeah, unless we get so conditioned by the trauma and we can't get out of it, so we are not stronger, we're weaker. We closed up, we shut down, we don't connect with people well, we don't take risks. Because it didn't kill us, but it produced so much trauma that is unhealed, and now we partially functioning.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Then we have even more work to do.
Exactly. So what didn't kill us and what we healed makes us stronger.
Yeah, that makes sense. What has surprised you?
What surprised me? What surprised me? How much people can survive. Endure, probably the right word. How much people can endure. That surprised me. At some point of life, it doesn't surprise me anymore. It surprised me, realization surprised me that every human being is capable of anything. When you start to play this game of right doers and wrong doers, good people and bad people, nice people, villains and good doers. A lot of people still play that game. It takes one to experience life in its glory to realize that the person in front of you, and you too, I too, we're capable of anything. We are put in the corner, pushed in the corner. Every single human being capable of anything. While for some it's a scary thought and they would resist it and say, I would never do that. Well, don't say that. When you're in a situation, whatever situation is, and it's absolutely critical, intense situation, you have no idea what you will do. You just don't know what you will do. Okay. So when we stop this, I would never righteous nonsense, we can extend so much compassion to people who do bad things because they are in pain that they were not able to handle. They are in ignorance that they were not able to transform into wisdom. They maybe didn't have intelligence and IQ, which is not necessarily the same, but to revisit the thought process and the perceptions. Maybe they didn't have good teachers. The environment conditioned them badly and they had no idea that they have control over their conditioning and how to reprocess their condition, right? So I always thought when I was young that I would never. I thought I would never. I thought person would never. And then life shows you how these boundaries are stretched. And life presents you with opportunity to see that. So that was a surprise. It was very big eye-opening for me. And it allowed me to connect on the level of, if I can say heart, it's kind of, overused the whole word, connect on the level of the heart. But if you understand what I'm trying to say, it's beyond analysis of human behavior, just kind of know that you are existence which function is to exist, life that is to exist. And when you put into circumstances where you feel threatened, whether you're fully threatened or you perceive to be threatened, the defense can be ugly. And contrary to it, it can be very heroic. Depends what's happening in life. But this fact that we as humans, as beings, are capable of anything, brings the relationship with reality to the very different level. And also it opens us to this unknown that a lot of people prefer not to be in, and play this game that we can get to know someone. All we need is time. All we need is time.
That's an illusion?
Absolute illusion. Because you never will get to know another being, because you never know what circumstances will present the side that you just didn't touch just yet. Right?
Right.
What set of triggers you didn't trigger just yet. You might spend with them years and didn't set the triggers. And then something in different circumstances, something or someone will trigger. And then suddenly you think, oh my God, who did I marry? Is that the person I married? No, it's someone else. You changed. No, you didn't change. You just didn't see that side of him or her. Right? So people are ultimately unknowable. And we are capable of anything. This realization can scare a lot of people, but that's that. We don't have to lie to ourselves to not be scared. We just need to embrace this realization that as human beings, we are capable of anything. It opens us for great compassion and great relating to people who we would otherwise play sense of superiority with. Oh, he is that and another. I would never do that, be that. Well, wait. He keeps saying it, and let's see where life will put you. Let's see what happens.
Right.
Yeah. You will never be murderer. Well, let's see what happens if someone murders your child and you can't cope with sense of desire for revenge, for example. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong. This is not the conversation. It's just what you can't cope with that, what you can't deal with that.
That's true. As I've gotten older, I found I have a little bit more compassion for others because I know I'm also capable of being less than perfect.
Fanny, you're perfect. I know you're absolutely perfect.
Oh, okay. Sixth question is, what expectations have you established for others, and are they reasonable?
I try not to. As I said, if people are capable of anything, my expectations are fluke. I can expect whatever the heck I decide to expect, but I will set myself for a disappointment every single time. I know it from my experience. People will always disappoint. High expectations, you said, they will always disappoint because they are not here to fulfill your expectations. They are here to live their life journey. They have their own life journey. They're not here to serve you and match your expectations.
Why not?
Yeah, I know. Wouldn't it be great? Actually, I don't think it would be. Everything would be so predictable, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, then it'd be kind of robotic. Yeah. What kind of difficulties do you face in your own life on personal, family, community, and global levels? and how connected do you feel to those around you?
Can you start with beginning, because somehow I missed the part of it. It was the connection or something. Can you say again?
Yeah, there was a little echo. What kind of difficulties do you face in your own life on personal, family, community, and global levels?
So my challenges in life, difficulties, right? Right now. Well, if I go, truly vulnerable here, so I noticed that after my divorce, my second divorce, kind of affected me quite a bit. My first affected me too, but it's been a while. So right now, the effect that I could feel is more of the second divorce.
Yeah.
That's where, there was a lot of illusions that were crushed. You think that that's the person, and then suddenly the behaviors that are presented, many behaviors are very eye-opening. You see people for what they are and what they are not, and you see yourself in the situations and surprised, and so it's not a game of blame. It's just the discovery of this fluidity of existence that takes forms, people, of course. But there is no rigid structure. I cannot say this is the person I know, this is the person I married, this is the person I love. Because for that, I need to be very definitive about what I am, who the I that loves, I that married, and who that person is. And so I have to have very rigid, definitive, limited structures, concept. And every single concept will fail. There is no self-concept or concept of another person that represent the truth, because they're partial. The concepts, the identities, they're partial. So you always will be wrong in saying I, because I'm very fluid, it's always changing, and he or she, because that's again unknowable. I'm dealing with the form of existence that existence take, which is unknowable through behaviors. It's only known on this existential deep level, but then there is no definition, there is no identities there, right? And that just requires very wide expansion of the mind to reach that in person. But then all definition on the level of personalities are not there. But if I'm talking about on the level of personality, the people are unknowable, right? So we already touched on that. So even though I already saw it, because I had a lot of different situations in my life, very difficult and very revealing, it's still somehow my mind made itself believe that this is kind of known relating, no dance of people. And it is very different dance as a result. Dance was very different dance. After divorce, the dance became very different dance than I would expect it to be. The separation during the divorce and after divorce, and then you think, oh my God, I thought I know the person I married. Wait a minute, I thought I know who I loved. How can that be? How that behavior can represent that? Right? And they maybe on the end think the same. Who knows, right? But that's what we think. So it affected me in a sense. So that's a reference to the past and my challenges now. Because of that, I find myself to be more distant, a little bit less connected to people, less responsive to connection. Definitely not responsive to romantic passes.
You're like, going through that again? Oh.
Exactly, yeah. So I'm not saying that it will be like that forever, but I still feel the echo of the effect of the event. And, I do my work around it because, I want to have very open relations with people again. And I understand that this cautious receiving of reality is the result of my own wrong perceptions, but so far it's my healing process. So I'm allowing myself to take time if time feels like it's needed, and part of me needs this continuity of the experience, and even maybe, who knows, I'm just letting it happen. But it does feel challenging though, because we're social beings, and in me I notice this conflict. I want to extend in connection, yet I notice myself sometimes that I'm withdrawing from connection. So there is this conflict in a way happening. So that kind of, I think it's a main challenge, that sense of truly be connected, or being willing to be truly connected to people. I'm working on that, and I'm working on that, because I really don't want it to be my reality. And I don't want pollution of the past to be dragged into present, but again, it's human existence, human experience, dance of human experience. We are affected by the mind that knows the past. It doesn't know it doesn't that well. Doesn't believe in the present. So the practice has helped me to transcend the effect of past. Is the meditation, is just mindfulness and reminding myself what I already know consciously, so my subconscious doesn't keep. But wait, do you remember that? Do you really want it again? No. So it just work, and I'm allowing myself to take this pause and not jump too fast into something that is not gonna serve me. That's kind of the main challenge right now. The sense of the willingness to connect with people. I feel withdrawn to a degree. There is some withdrawal happens. I can notice it, and it's not a conscious choice. Sometimes it is too. It's kind of interesting. So it's the dance. It's not very kind of clear. Healing needs a little healing needs here.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that you're willing to share all these kind of things. When you take responsibility for the choices you make and how they impact others, what do you notice about your life, and how does considering somebody else's happiness impact your own happiness?
Well, you're always considering someone else's happiness. The question is to what degree, right? If I'm responsible for my happiness 100%, it's obviously that another person is responsible for their happiness 100%. So of course, it doesn't mean that I have to be mean and abuse them and be disrespectful and so on and so forth. It doesn't mean that. Yet, I don't need to bend over myself to make someone happy. Their happiness in their own hands. I can still extend love and share gifts and make something to ease their day. And I always want to do it. It's my nature. But there is a very big tendency in people I see, especially in relationship, to be pleasers. And pleasers don't do it for another person. It's not about another person's happiness. It's about how their happiness will, as a result, affect yours.
True.
Right? So I please you, and it's kind of I'm doing it for you, but it's really I'm doing it for me. And now, if you're not reacting how I want to, I'll get mad at you. I had a lot of it in my second marriage. A lot. And usually it comes with anger. Oh, you don't validate my efforts? Right? So I'm not, in my work, I'm very concerned with other people's happiness because it's my work. You see where they suffer and how I can transform their life and make them feel happier. Contribute, not make them. I can make them contribute. with my skills and processes and knowledge and wisdom, if I have any, and ability to share the energetic transformation to facilitate it. In my work, I'm concerned. In my relationship of any kind, I mean, I would love to play, at this point in my life, I would like to play with adults. You know?
Yeah.
And when two adults play, we're all responsible for our happiness. And if I'm unhappy, it's my responsibility. It doesn't mean that I will be cold and, you know, don't hug you when you need a hug and don't give you a compliment when I see that it will brighten your day. Bless you. Right?
Yeah.
I definitely still will do it, but I'm not too concerned about your happiness. Because it's not my job. And if you're not adult enough to take responsibility for your happiness, I don't think I'm your best playmate. You know what I mean? At this stage of my life, I really want adults to play with. I played with children enough in my past. I had enough babysitting done. So at this point, I really want two adults to come together and explore experiences of life and share happiness with each other. But for something to be shared, you have to have it. You can share what you don't have. To share love, you have to have love. To share happiness, you have to have happiness. So you can't share your happiness with me if you don't have it. So you have to work on it.
Right. It's like an increasing mirror in a way.
Increasing what?
An increasing mirror.
Yeah, totally, absolutely. Absolutely. We all mirrors to each other. That's the beauty of this whole dance. We are mirrors. It's for a lot of people, it's a very difficult mirror, difficult dance. Because if someone mirrors to you, that's why relationships are so hard for a lot of people, especially conscious relationship. You have someone who mirrors 24/7. Well, if you work together, as we did with my ex-husbands, we worked together. So there was a lot of mirroring happening there. Less time you spend together, less you mirroring. You know, less you involve in conscious inner work. I cannot even say that you mirroring less though. It's unconscious mirroring. So conscious mirroring can be even harder because when you take responsibility, then you need to make sure that you don't set into blame and shame, self-blame and shame. Because taking responsibility is one thing. Going to blame, self-blames is completely other. It's not productive at all.
Are there certain emotions that are harder to keep in the light, where you feel the urge to push them under the surface?
Sorry, go ahead.
Further, what steps could you take to bring them to the surface, and how could you have compassion towards yourself, emotions that you hope to hide come to the surface?
It was a bad connection. Can you give the last sentence a part of it?
Yeah. How could you have compassion towards yourself when the emotions that you were hoping to hide come to the surface?
Okay. So, okay. I don't try to hide emotions. The whole work, inner work it's to understand your emotions.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very emotional being. I'm intense. So I feel a lot. And I don't try to hide my emotion from myself. Mostly I don't hide them from others either. So it's not easy. Emotions will be brought on surface in reaction to something. They just bring emotions, so that's how you see them. If you look, if you're really willing to look, that's how you see them. You're triggered, you get off center, and then you see what came up. The hardest emotion for everybody, I would say, not just for me, I think shame for a lot of people is the hardest emotion. It's the emotion that makes people weak. Anger is much easier emotion. That's why you see a lot of people reaction to trigger mostly is anger. And underneath of it can be sadness and fear and shame and everything. But anger is kind of It's when you feel kind of strong, it's this illusion of power, righteousness and power, and finger pointing that happens because anger is projected kind of outside, shame projected inside, sadness is inside, but anger is outside. I mean, you can have self-hatred too, but usually trigger reaction, usually it's anger projected outside.
Oh, interesting. I was reading that anger is a reaction to your own emotional reactions. So
yeah, but it very often get projected outside. That's what the whole shadow work that I do is so much in connection with this particular challenge. It's so much anger because people are not willing to turn it in. You see what's over here, but it's much easier to turn it out and say, you are responsible. You did that. They did that. They did not do that. They should have done that. They must have, right? So every time I do workshops with people, there's always in the group someone saying, no, I don't agree that I'm responsible 100%. Well, that's your choice. And suffering is your choice too. And causing suffering to others too, your choice. And I would love to contribute to you, for you to make a different choice. You don't spread your anger. You don't spit it out everywhere. The poison, where you go, everywhere you go, you spread it. Or blame and self-rejection. Because if you're not willing to find out what kind of machines we are, because it's very mechanical, conditioning and then the reactivity is very mechanical. It's an action of machine. If you're not willing to understand our software and hardware, in your language and my language, then what kind of conversation can happen? It's like two babies, they know nothing. And two adults can have really relating that is very mature relating. I understand what happens over here. what I don't, I lost my voice.
Bless you.
So what I don't understand, I'm willing to look at without going into shame when it's presented to me through mirroring. As soon as I go into shame, as I already shared, the first reaction for so many people, shame is very painful. It's very painful reaction, shame. Feeling shame or guilty, very painful. Sadness is less painful. Fear is painful.
But it fades with time, I guess. The sadness.
Sadness, it depends. I mean, again, everything fades with time, we can say, because there's no constant in life. Everything is passing, everything is transient, right? But sadness, somehow I noticed that sadness doesn't have so much grasp on you. It's more mellow feeling. It's not highly energetic. Shame has a lot of physical reaction into that, very strong. Sadness does not. Fear has a lot of reaction in you. Sensations are very strong when you feel fear. Stronger fear, stronger reaction. So shame, guilt, fear, they are harder to deal with, especially shame. Anger is very often comes as cover up for all of it. In anger, you feel the strongest. Adrenaline is going, you done that or have not done that. It's not about me anymore. Not what I'm ashamed of, what I'm guilty of, what I have done, would have done differently. Because if you don't have skills, you will go into blame then, self-blame. That's painful. Instead of just looking, that's what I have done or have not done, and I could have. It could have been done differently, and just look at algorithm. Then become learning without shame, without self-blame. But if you do that unconsciously, then automatic switch going, you are responsible. Right? And that's the violence right there. Because also part of it, I'm changing the story. In order for me to blame you, I must completely change the story, remember? And mind is doing it very well. I will change story not only for you, but I also will change the story for myself. Because if I don't change the story, I will go into self-blame. But that's not what I want for the mind, right? That's not what mind wants. That's not the game of the ego. The game of the ego is self-defense.
So is anger always mistaken?
It's misdirected because it's always points to wrong perception. It's out of balance, takes you out of balance. Balance is it's a representation of your connection to the truth. This balance is representation in whatever form it comes. It's pointer to wrong perception, where you go off perception of the truth. Think so?
Yeah. All right. This is the last question.
Oh, I will miss the rest. Okay.
Where do you look for your will?
For my
For your will.
will.
Look for your will. Think back to a time when you remember using your will, when you were faced with a situation that required something deep within you. It might have been a struggle, a big decision, a crossroads, helping somebody, or even the risk of losing everything. What do you remember about that situation, and what did your will feel like? How would you have described the quality in you that helped you make it through? What did you learn about yourself, like resilience, mastery, connection, determination, focus, courage, energy?
Awesome. It's like 20 questions in one. So I'm just talking about
I'll just
focus on will. That's one word that I can't remember out of all of it. So, okay. So there is a lot of debate, essential debate on free will versus no free will, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we leave that conversation and just assume that there is some will in us, right? I don't think we can segment, this is where I use my will and this is when I don't use my will. It's present in all our actions. Every time when we need to overcome our natural tendency for complacency, that's the will, right? The will makes you get up in the morning. The will to go to work for some people, take care of babies that is crying. There's a will, because the natural tendency, I want to stay in bed, it's so comfy, unless you're inspired to go and play. But very often, adults have other type of playing. They need to go and earn their living and feed their families and that and another. So there is a will for it, right? So it would be much more interesting to explore when there is no will. When don't we engage wills? Because I think we engage will all the time, unless the impulse is something that gives us pleasure. I don't think we need that much will to receive pleasure. Well, actually, not even that, not true, because some people have a hard time receiving pleasure.
That's true. They might feel guilty.
Right. So, yeah. So even that is not true if you look into that. So it seems like will is a part of this whole energy that moves. The underlying energy that moves us through life, the will seems to be kind of a representation of it. No? I mean, I don't even know where to go with it much.
Maybe we could touch on the part about you faced a situation that was a struggle and you had to overcome it.
Any situation that is struggle, which is, every day we have some struggles one or another, and then you engage your will. I mean, anything that is other than what is easier to do, anything that needs to be done that is other than what is easier, there is a will come to play.
Right.
Right? Even for me to put lipstick on for this thingy, our thingy that we are doing here. You know, it's an act of little act of will. It's like, I would rather not do it, but hey, you know, it's kind of on the screen will be looking brighter. The image will look brighter a little bit, you know. So it's a little act of will, right? You
Right.
probably would want to kind of hang out there somewhere in your bed. It's still morning, but hey, you know, you committed to interview, and now we are sitting here together. Unless you so wanted to see me madly. That's probably the way.
Yeah.
I didn't say, yeah, I wanted to see you too. We haven't talked so long. But that's pretty much it. I don't know if I can. Examples always difficult for me because you would assume that this event is more important than some others, or this is somehow different than others. Well, my mind usually looks at patterns. Or examples are just simply difficult. I notice. Just nothing comes. I keep looking for it, and nothing specific comes. But in general, discipline, for example, when you look at any discipline, you must have will. You must train your will. And they kind of go pedal will and discipline, right? You train it. It's a practice. Some people have stronger will than others. I was blessed with pretty strong will. If I want something, I'm going to work so hard to get it. Then the challenge is only the degree of the desire, the intensity of the desire. And I notice my intensity of desire subside quite significantly. So I don't have that much draw for some actions as in the past. Training will is important, and I think the trick here is acting despite. Despite that, and despite that, and despite that. Despite the fear, despite desire to do something that is easier. Despite to do inner work, despite. It's a great will to do inner work because it's not easy. Inner work is not easy. We have to face a lot of demons about ourselves, to accept all shadows, to accept all that constitute the wholeness of the being that we want to deny because I'm a good person. Well, no, you're everything. And I'm everything and you're everything. So let's be honest here. Let's look where you're not a good person. Not a bad person, but not that just very nice, good person. And you know how many people point, oh, I hate when people lie. Yeah, when did you lie? Do you remember when you lied? Oh, yeah, I lied, but not that much. Oh, it's kind of hypocritical, isn't it? Right? So, can you accept it? Yes, I lied. You know, and this is why I lie, and this is why I would prefer not to lie, but this is circumstances where I lie, and other people lie, so I don't judge them at least. So I'm not producing violence towards someone out of my hypocrisy. Okay?
Well, Olga, thank you very much for your honesty and for sharing your wisdom and experience with me and everybody. So.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for your time and for your questions. You know, I loved the conversation. Monologue, practically, but hey, I'm very grateful. Thank you.
All right.